Hi guys, this is Poet Spice Jamie Lila Tallulah, and as you can see, here is the Gemini Go. It's a little teeny tiny thing. So fabulous. Yay, yay, yay. As I said previously, I have not planned on getting this machine. I was adamantly against getting the machine because I don't need another one. And yet, I caved. But it took me all day to cave, so I'm like, yay. So what I'm here to do today is a demo of cutting the embossing folder in here, the Crafter's Companion dies that aren't too difficult, and a 3D embossing folder. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the machine. And hopefully this will be clear. If you already have a Gemini, you know how this goes. But here's the machine. This will run on a battery pack that you have to purchase separately. It has a battery booster, and here it is. You need a 12 volt 1.5 amp battery pack to run this. Okay, so you would hook this up to the battery pack and then hook it into the back of your machine. It also runs on the electricity in your house, so all you have to do is plug it up, which is what I have right now. It's plugged up. So let me go ahead and show you the features really quickly in case you have not seen this machine at all. First, you have the machine itself. It has a power on button, a pause, and then play button, and it has a reverse button on the top. Somebody asked before what these were. These are just places where the machine is screwed together. So if you see this, there's a line right there. So these are just the tabs over where the screws are. That's all that is. Okay, so there's the mouth. It is a 3-inch across mouth. And you have these handy dandy little carrier flaps or handles. In the back, you will see that you have an on and off switch. You did not have an on and off switch in the big Gemini. They put that on the Junior, and it's also on this Mini. It also gives you a reminder here of what amperage and voltage that you need. So here's where you plug up your power pack. And if you're going to use the here's where you plug it up for the electric from the house. And then if you're going to use the power pack, you plug it into the same place. You would just unplug this, plug in the power. Now, they said in the videos that the battery should last at least 5 hours. I don't have the battery, so I can't tell you. I had another question. They said, how long is this cord? And this is about 4.5 feet. From the very end to about here. So it's roughly 4.5. It might be even closer to 5. I didn't take an extreme measurement. Okay, so let's go with this. First thing you need to do, flip the machine on. Okay, so when it's on in the back, then you come up here. Now notice the lights aren't on. Okay, so you actually have to push the power button on, and then you can see that the purple lights light up. Okay, so it's a really easy machine to use, so that's a good thing. All right, the first thing I want to try is a just regular die. So they came with some dies in the bundle, and I'm going to cut this chair die. I'm going to cut the bunny, and in another package I got this hello die, and these are Crafter's Companion dies. You can use other dies. Okay, here's the sandwich for this. You have your clear cutting plate, your magnetic shim, your plastic shim, and then you have your other cutting plate. Now, some people like to cut with their die facing up. I like to cut with mine facing down. So what that means is I will take my paper. Oops, we're cutting, right? So I will take my paper. And I'm going to whip it down a little bit. And I want to cut into my cutting plate. So I put that on top, and then I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you know how a die works, but I will go over it just in case. You see the raised edges on this side, and then this side is flat? These are the blades. So you want the blades facing the part of the paper you want to show. Okay, so I want this red, so my blades are down. See that? Now, because I don't like it moving around, I am going to tape it down. And I also like to be frugal with paper, so I try to get more than one thing going. Okay, so now it's face down. Okay, then I put my plate. So then my clear or my plastic shim, magnetic shim, the other cutting plate. it really doesn't matter which way you put it as long as you put the die facing one of these cutting plates. So you could put it in this way or you could put it in that way. Like I said, I like to cut down. So that's what I'll do. So this is the test run. It's the first one. You stick it in. Ooh, are you seeing it? Seeing it? Seeing it? Now, it goes slower than the other Gemini because it's a smaller machine. So you have to give it time to do its cutting. That sound is normal. If you don't know, the cracking lets you know that it was cutting. All right, so you just take that out. When you're done, the machine shuts off. You can see. Now, this happens. Some people were worried, and I know when I first got my very first die cutting machine, I was like, oh gosh, I ruined my plate. See that cut in there? That's normal. It's going to do that. Every time you cut it, it's going to do that. So don't worry about it. It's what it does. Now, look at that. It just popped out. So there's the little chair from the die set. So that did pretty well. Snazzy. Now, the reason I actually ended up getting this machine is one, because of all the temptation. And two, was that I do a lot of small stuff. This plate is 3x6, and a lot of your dies that you don't think will fit on here will actually fit on here. The problem is, and so if you are on the fence between getting the Gemini GO or the big machine, if you do anything other than small dies, so if you do cards or you want to do 3D projects or, you know, larger dies, I would suggest not getting the GO first. I would go to the big Gemini. If you have the big Gemini, then you can cut whatever. You can cut little teeny dies all the way up to dies that are 8.5 by 11. Okay, so if you have to choose, like if your budget will not allow you to have both, my suggestion is to get the Gemini, the original Gemini. Okay, that way you have all the stuff you need. You can cut anything on it except for steel rule dies. Okay. If the budget allows, then I would have the Gemini and the Gemini GO. Okay, so I know some people, this was their first machine because they said it was cheaper, and I can understand your budget, definitely. But if you can, especially since they have like 5 flex pays on it, if you can, this machine was like $100. By the time you put everything on it, it's basically $140 because you have tax and then you have shipping, blah blah. So it was $129 to buy it on the release date, but the Gemini, the big Gemini, is only $199. So yes, that seems like it's like almost $200 versus $120 or $130 really, but that extra, what, $60, you can cut anything in your die collection. This one you're limited. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me quit babbling and go on to the next thing. I want to cut this little bunny, and I want that to be cut in this little cream color. Yeah, the bunny, the bunny. And then I have this hello die right here, and I think I'm going to cut it in this red color again too. Okay, and matter of fact, let's see what it'll do now. I'm going to try to cut 2 of these to give it a layer. So let me do some taping. Ta-da-ta-da. And then we're going to cut both of these at the same time. So clear plate, paper, die face down, plastic shim, metallic, or yeah, magnetic, and then the other shim. So we're just going to put that on top and run it through. Okay, now while that's setting that and running through there, I'm going to try to find the embossing folder. So they have the embossing folder, and this is roughly 2 by something. I don't want it to fall off the back. So there we go. Let's see. Yep. See, our little bunny, it just fell out, which means we probably could go down to the rubber mat. They say start with a thinner one, but I don't like doing that. So, you know, it's your machine. You can do what you want to do. Oh, see, it's official now. It's had a piece of tape stuck on it. And it even cut both layers of this, not uber intricate die, but Word dies are always hard to cut, so it cut both layers of that. Okay, so we're going to move that over to there, and I'm going to take my die out before I lose it. Put that there. So we got our dies to cut. Now, we have an embossing folder. This is a regular embossing folder that came with the set, and it's roughly 2 something by 2 something. So I'm going to go ahead and put that piece in here, and I want to see how this does. So according to the directions here, let's see what they say, because I don't do embossing folders that often on here. I usually use my Big Shot Plus. So for an embossing folder, we are going to have this one, the clear one, the embossing folder with the paper in it, and we are going to have the cutting mat. So the other glass mats. Let me get this off for you. So that's our sandwich, clear, embossing folder with paper, and here's a tip. Do not stick it right to the edge because it'll have a hard time grabbing. Put it more towards the middle. Go like that. And stick it in there. See what happens. There we go. As it comes out the back. The Gemini butt. Into the mouth and out the Gemini butt crack. Butt crack. Okay, I don't think they really advertise it like that, but seeing how I paid for my own, and yeah, it's not like I'm paid and I don't get a discount. Okay, so there's the regular embossing folder. Here's another tip. Say you wanted this a little deeper. You can add a shim in there with another piece of paper to make it a deeper emboss. So there's how you do a regular 2D embossing folder. Okay, now they have a 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of paper in there. I'm going to do that. And for this one, you will have the regular cutting plate, the 3D embossing folder. Let me look at their instructions. And then you want, it says the magnetic shim. So you could actually do it this way. It doesn't really matter. And then your plastic shim. All right, let's see what we have going on. See how it does. It's coming out the Gemini butt crack. All right, let's see what we did. What did we get? Okay, so there you go. This one's stuck in there a little bit more. So then you can see the 3D embossing on this one. Okay, so I'll show you the difference between 2D embossing and 3D embossing. Can you see the difference? See how much more detail that is? You've got a lot more raised areas and so forth. Okay, so that is a demo for the Gemini. If you would like to see something else done on it, let me know, and I shall see you guys later. Bye.